All right, let's talk about Claude Code. Now, if you're using it for, simple stuff like auto-completing code or answering basic questions, that's great. But you're here because you want more. And over the next few minutes, we're going to show you how to go way, way deeper to unlock its real power as an agent.
Yeah, I know that sounds pretty bold, right? You're using it all wrong. But honestly, most of us treat Claude like a fancy autocomplete. And when we do that, we're leaving so much power on the table. It's like having a Ferrari and only ever driving it in first gear. So in this explainer, we're going to give you the playbook. We're going to break down the specific workflows, the kind of hidden features that turn Claude from just a helpful assistant into an absolute development machine. We are moving past basic prompts and into real agent-driven development. Okay, let's get into it.
All right, first things first. We have to kind of reset our expectations of what's even possible here. See, Claude isn't just a helper. It's a full-on autonomous agent. You just have to know how to talk to it.
Look, it's pretty simple. If you talk to it like a basic chatbot, you're going to get basic chatbot results. It's garbage in, garbage out. But what if you gave it the context, the rules, the tools, basically the mindset of a senior developer? Well, then it starts acting like one, and that's the big leap we're going to make right now.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? Where do we even start? Well, the first step, and honestly, this is probably the most important one, is to give Claude a brain specifically for your project, a playbook that teaches it exactly how you want it to think, how you want it to work.
So what does that look like? It's a file, claude.md. And I want you to think of this file like an onboarding document for a new team member. It's a living, breathing document that gives Claude all your rules, your context, your preferences. This isn't a one-off prompt. No, this gets loaded every single time you start a session. You're basically programming its core personality for your entire project.
And what goes in this playbook? Well, rules like these. And these aren't just, gentle suggestions. They are direct commands that literally shape how the AI thinks. For instance, when you tell it to think in to-do lists, you force it to break down a complex problem into smaller, manageable steps, just like a good developer would. Or my favorite, avoid being lazy. That one stops it from taking those frustrating shortcuts that end up causing more work later. Just adding a few simple rules like this can radically improve the quality of everything it does.
Okay, so you've got your playbook. That's awesome. You've basically created a solid junior dev, but now it's time to scale up. Why have one assistant when you can have an entire team of specialists? And that, my friends, is where sub-agents come in.
Now, it's really important to get this. A sub-agent is not just another chat window. Think of it as a totally independent worker. It gets its own dedicated system prompt, its own tools, and its own massive 200K token context window. You can literally delegate a complex task to it, fire and forget style, and it'll go off, do the work, and only report back to the main agent when it's completely finished. This right here is a complete game changer for your workflow. It means you can have multiple agents working in parallel. Just imagine it. You've got a UI specialist over here building out beautiful, responsive components. At the exact same time, you've got an API expert integrating a new third-party service. They're all working at once. That's the power we're talking about. So you can build out this custom team for literally any app. A UI designer, an API integrator, maybe a data analyst, you name it. And you're not limited to these examples, of course. Here's a little pro tip for you. You can actually ask Claude to scan your entire code base and then tell you what the perfect sub-agent team would be to manage it. How cool is that?
Okay, let me ask you something. Have you ever had this happen? You kick off a big task for Claude, you go grab a coffee, you come back 20 minutes later, and it's done absolutely nothing. Why? Because it got stuck 5 seconds in just waiting for you to type yes to a simple permission prompt. It's the worst, right? A total productivity kill.
Well, that's where hooks come in. Hooks are the solution to that exact problem. Think of them as an automation layer. You can set up custom commands that trigger automatically when specific things happen, like when a task finishes or a tool gets used. You can get a notification, run a script, or, and this is the really cool part, automatically commit your code.
Let's look at this auto-commit hook. So let's say the agent makes a successful code change with no errors. The event fires, the hook triggers, and boom, the code is automatically committed to your Git repo. What does this do? It creates automatic rewind points. So if the agent messes something up on the very next step, no big deal. You haven't lost all your progress. You can just revert back to that last good commit. It's basically adding version control to your AI's workflow, which gives you this amazing safety net and a ton of peace of mind.
All right, now let's put all the pieces together. We've got our playbook, we've got our team of agents, we've got our automated hooks. It's time to combine them into the ultimate workflow, something that professional engineering teams do every day: spec-driven development. Just look at the difference here. A vague prompt like "make the app responsive" is going to get you generic, probably buggy results. It's just too open-ended. But a specific prompt, a real spec, like "create a bento layout that becomes a single column on mobile," now you're talking. That's a clear, testable requirement. It gives the agent a precise target. You're not just asking it to code, you're asking it to solve a very specific, well-defined problem.
So this workflow happens in 2 phases. Phase 1 is plan mode. This is all about strategy. You tell the agent, okay, go figure this out. It will explore the code base, it'll analyze files, it'll ask you clarifying questions, and then it will come back with a detailed plan of attack. And the key here is it does all of this without writing a single line of code. Then, once you've looked at the plan and said, yep, that looks good, you switch over to phase 2, execution mode. Now the agent isn't guessing anymore. It's not trying to figure things out on the fly. It is simply, methodically, implementing the plan that you already approved. The simple 2-step process, plan, then execute, makes a night-and-day difference in the quality and accuracy of the final code.
And remember, your agents aren't stuck inside a little box, only able to see your local files. You can give them tools to connect to the outside world. They're called MCPs, or Model Context Protocols, but really just think of them as super-powered plugins. You could give your agent Firecrawl to scrape real-time info off a website, or give it Playwright so it can literally open a browser and automate tasks for you. This makes them so much more powerful. And the last piece of this puzzle, you can package all of these complex workflows up. That whole multi-step process of, say, updating all your project documentation, you can save that as a simple, reusable /command like /update_docs. It's brilliant. You're essentially automating your automations. Okay, let's wrap this up and bring it all together when you make this shift. When you go from treating Claude like a simple assistant to building a full agentic system, you fundamentally change the entire game of how you build software.
Because when you combine that personal playbook with a team of specialized sub-agents and you run it all with a spec-driven workflow, you're not just getting a little bit better. You're not making tiny incremental gains. We are talking about unlocking a genuine 10x multiplier on your speed, on your code quality, and on your overall effectiveness as a developer.
And all of this leads to a pretty big question, doesn't it? As the AI becomes more of a co-pilot or even the one doing the typing, what's our new role as developers? This shift from being the writer of code to being the architect of agents, it's huge. Our job becomes more about planning, about defining clear specs, about managing our AI team. It's a whole new way of working, and honestly, mastering it is going to be the key to staying ahead in this new world.